welcome. If you are here, it means a profound desire stirs within you. You yearn to master something new, whether it is English, public speaking, coding, or music. Yet, a familiar frustration has likely shadowed your path. Why does learning feel so arduous? Why do concepts slip away so quickly? Why do others seem to grasp things with effortless speed while you struggle? The most insidious thought of all might be, perhaps I am simply not intelligent enough. Let me unveil a liberating truth. That voice of doubt, it lies. You are not flawed. You are not slow. You are not incapable. The only missing piece has been the genuine understanding of how learning truly operates. Yet our world often forces us to absorb information we do not care about, then punishes us for forgetting and judges our intelligence based on these flawed systems. The entire paradigm of learning has been inverted. We were never shown the brain's natural pathways for acquiring knowledge, how to dissect complex skills, or how to make learning both enduring and enjoyable. We were conditioned to endure, not to comprehend, to repeat, not to rethink. Today, that outdated script is rewritten. This message is not designed to impress you, but to liberate you. It aims to strip away the shame, dissolve the confusion, and finally hand you a clear, actionable blueprint for mastering anything you desire. So, if you have ever uttered the words, "I cannot learn this," I urge you to stay. The impediment is not you. It is the method you have been employing. I am about to share a scientifically validated, experience-backed, and proven path, step by step. No magic, no shortcuts, just powerful, practical strategies. Let us embark. And as you absorb these insights, you will simultaneously enhance your English. Ensure you subscribe, for your journey to mastery begins now. Step 1. Define your learning destination with absolute precision. The most common error learners make is vague ambition. Phrases like, "I want to learn English," or "I want to be better at drawing," are not goals, they are aspirations. Your brain, much like a GPS, does not respond to wishes. It demands clarity. Typing? Somewhere nice. Into a navigation system yields no route. But specify, "I want to confidently converse with native English speakers in 6 months." And your brain immediately activates. Understood. Initiating course. General objectives are too vast, too nebulous. To transform, learn English into a specific, actionable goal, consider, "I will master 10 daily conversation topics this month." Or, "I will comprehend 80% of an English movie without subtitles." Or even, "I will confidently introduce myself in under 60 seconds. This is genuine learning because your brain now has a precise target. The brain is an intrinsically goal-driven mechanism. A clear outcome triggers the reticular activating system, a neural filter that flags crucial information, directing your focus and reinforcing memory. This is why clarity accelerates learning, while vagueness keeps you stagnant. Before you even begin, ask yourself, what exact ability do I seek? What does success look like in 30 days? Can I articulate this goal as simply as explaining it to a 5-year-old? If not, pause. The initial step in learning is not books, videos, or courses. It is the deliberate act of defining your precise objective and envisioning its successful attainment. This transformation moves you from confusion to precision, from noise to signal, from hopeful wishing to resolute knowing. This is the genesis of unstoppable learning. Step 2. Deconstruct the skill like a tree. You do not learn a forest. You learn a leaf, then a branch, then the tree itself. With your goal now crystal clear, for instance, I want to deliver a 3-minute presentation in English. Most people instinctively attempt to practice the entire skill repeatedly. They struggle, feel overwhelmed, and inevitably surrender. Why? They tried to consume the entire tree at once, rather than dissecting it into manageable, digestible components. Consider learning English speaking. The ineffective approach involves watching random videos, memorizing full speeches, and succumbing to frustration when forgetting. The effective approach is deconstruction. Like a tree, the roots are vocabulary. The trunk is sentence structure. The branches are specific topics, introducing yourself, asking questions, storytelling. The leaves are nuances like voice tone, confidence, speed, and pronunciation. Instead of attempting to master everything simultaneously, you isolate and conquer one element at a time. Days 1 to 3 focus solely on introductions. Days 4 to 6 discuss hobbies. Days 7 to 9 practice asking questions. Each sub-skill is small, learnable, and measurable. As you master the roots and branches, the complete tree flourishes organically. This potency stems from the brain's preference for chunking. Breaking large concepts into smaller segments enhances memory, builds confidence, and accelerates acquisition. It also mitigates anxiety. Instead of facing a monumental task, you are simply working on this one leaf today. This approach fosters calm, focus, and is the hallmark of successful learners. For another example, imagine learning guitar. Instead of playing an entire song, break it down: roots, chords, trunk transitions, branches, rhythm and strumming, leaves, speed, expression, improvisation. Devote 3 days to one chord, another 3 to transitions, then 4 to rhythm. By the time you play the full song, it feels intuitive, built from the ground up. Remember, learning is cultivation. Begin with the root, then the branch, then the leaves. Do not attempt to grow the entire forest in a single day. Step 3. Employ first principle thinking, not blind imitation. If you lack profound understanding, you will forever be reliant on those who possess it. Let us be candid. What is the typical response when someone seeks to learn? They open a video, find the most popular one, and meticulously copy its content. Formulas, phrases, routines. They feel competent until an unfamiliar situation arises and they falter. Why? Because they never grasped the underlying why. They merely replicated the what. Blind copying feels productive, but it stifles genuine learning. It cultivates dependence, not intelligence. The directive is this: do not begin with, how do others accomplish this? Begin with, what do I know to be fundamentally true? Then, build from that foundation. This is how Elon Musk, without a background as a rocket scientist, learned rocket science. He did not ask, how do other companies build rockets? He inquired, what are rockets composed of? What is the actual cost of these materials? Why is it universally believed to be prohibitively expensive? What are the core physics at play? He sought the truth beneath the methodology, and from that bedrock, he revolutionized rocket manufacturing. The wrong way, copy, pasting what your boss says on a call. The right way, first principle thinking. Why do we initiate with a question rather than a direct pitch? Why does the client consistently hesitate at this point? What is the genuine fear behind their reluctance? How can I address that before they even voice it? You are not merely learning sales scripts. You are delving into human psychology. This is deeper, more permanent. When you embrace first principle thinking, you transcend rapid learning. You become an innovator, capable of forging your own methods, ideas, and breakthroughs. You shift from how do they do it to here is how I will do it, and here is why. That is the threshold of mastery. Step 4, dedicate twice the time to doing, not just watching. You do not learn to swim by observing a video, you learn by immersing yourself. Let us dismantle another pervasive myth of modern learning that consuming sufficient information equates to intelligence. False. If this were true, every YouTube subscriber would be a millionaire. Every gym video viewer would have 6-pack abs. Every podcast listener would be fluent. They are not. Watching is not learning. Listening is not fluency. Reading is not transformation. The profound truth is, you learn through implementation. You grow through application. You must allocate at least twice the time to active doing as you do to passive consumption. If you watch a 30-minute video, dedicate 60 minutes to applying its teachings. Otherwise, your brain becomes a mere repository of untested theories, not a dynamic learning engine. Consider a 20-minute English lesson. Most individuals feel momentarily intelligent, close the video, and forget everything within 2 days. The correct approach: pause the video every 1 to 2 minutes. Articulate the sentences aloud. Record yourself speaking. Compare your pronunciation to the speakers. Integrate those phrases into real conversations on the same day. Jot down 2 to 3 key learnings and review them before sleep. This is how knowledge permeates your physical being. Imagine learning graphic design. Instead of watching 3 Photoshop tutorials consecutively, try this: watch 5 minutes, pause, open Photoshop, attempt it yourself, make errors, return to the video, correct, try again, then rewatch with your mistakes in mind. You will learn 5 times faster than someone who watches 10 videos without ever touching the software. Consumption activates passive memory. Doing activates procedural memory. Procedural memory is the memory of actual skills, the memory that endures, the memory that transforms your life. Watching provides the map. Doing teaches you the terrain. And the terrain is invariably distinct from the map. To learn anything, reduce your watching time and increase your walking time. No one ever learned to ride a bicycle by observing another person pedal. They learned by falling, by rising, by trying again. Your brain requires movement, not merely motivation. Step 5. Employ the 10,000-hour rule wisely. You have likely encountered it. Mastery demands 10,000 hours of practice. This is accurate, yet profoundly misunderstood. Most assume, if I just persist for 10 years, I will be a master. Incorrect. 10,000 hours of incorrect practice will not yield mastery. It will cultivate deep mediocrity. Consider your driving experience. Perhaps 5,000, 10,000, or more hours. Yet, you are no longer improving. You are not evolving into a Formula One driver. You are not acquiring new skills. You are merely performing the same actions automatically. This is not mastery. It is repetition devoid of improvement. This is the common pitfall: logging hours without enhancing skill. They conflate time with transformation. The original concept from psychologist Anders Ericsson's, not Malcolm Gladwell, who popularized it, emphasized deliberate practice. This means seeking feedback, embracing slight discomfort, measuring improvement, and correcting errors in real time. That is the true secret. Not just practice, but deliberate practice. Suppose you aspire to be a top-tier chef. The wrong approach: repeatedly cook the same 3 recipes, use identical ingredients, cling to familiarity, avoid risk or challenge. You will become competent but not grow. The right approach: deliberate practice. Each week, attempt a dish more complex than the last. Experiment with new spices or cooking methods. Solicit ratings from others. Compare your creation to a restaurant version. Identify and rectify mistakes. Maintain a cooking journal. Now your hours build genuine skill. You are not just repeating, you are refining, evolving. Your brain enters a state of deep learning where the task is sufficiently challenging to stretch you, but not so overwhelming as to break you. This is the Goldilocks zone of learning: too easy, boredom; too hard, frustration; just right, mastery. So, daily ask yourself, is today's task marginally more difficult than yesterday's? Did I challenge my brain today? Did I improve by even 1%? If yes, your 10,000 hours will forge mastery. If no, you are trapped in a repetitive loop. Do not merely spend time, invest focus, track improvement, correct mistakes, and stretch your capabilities. This is how 10,000 hours become transformation. This is how amateurs become masters. Step 6. The 20-hour kickstart formula. Now, let us shift perspective. What if your immediate goal is not mastery, but simply sufficient competence to begin? Competent enough to hold a conversation, play a basic song, write fundamental code, cook your first authentic dish, or launch your initial video. This is where the 20-hour rule, popularized by Josh Kaufman, comes into play. With merely 20 hours of focused, intelligent effort, you can progress from absolute novice to surprisingly proficient in almost anything. Not world-class, not expert, but capable enough to start. And starting is the hurdle 99% of people never overcome. 20 hours translates to approximately 45 minutes a day for 1 month. Ample time to establish basic muscle memory, conquer initial fear, and transition from confused to competent. It is the momentum formula, transforming a mountain into a staircase. Imagine you have never touched a piano. You could defer for years, aspiring to be a musician. Or you could declare, I want to play one simple, beautiful song in 30 days. The planned hours 1 to 2, learn finger placement and notes. Hours 3 to 5, practice left and right hands independently. Hours 6 to 9, slowly combine both hands. Hours 10 to 15, incorporate basic timing and rhythm. Hours 16 to 18, record yourself, review, and refine. Hours 19 to 20, perform for someone, gather feedback, and further polish. The outcome from nothing to a genuine moment of musical gratification in less than a month. You have acquired a skill. You have created beauty. You have proven to your brain, I can learn this. And that belief fuels the acquisition of the next skill. Most people fail to learn not because the skill is inherently difficult, but because they never surmount the initial 10 hours. They become ensnared by confusion, self-doubt, procrastination, fear of appearing foolish, or waiting for motivation. The 20-hour method compels you to say, let us simply begin. Let us simply try. And that initial success is profoundly addictive. Grab a notebook. Label it skill on your skill 20-hour challenge. Draw 20 boxes. Each day, after 1 hour of genuine, focused practice, tick a box. Day by day, box by box, you construct something new. By day 20, you will possess a new skill, a new identity, and a renewed belief in yourself. Mastery requires years, but progress starts today. Do not await permission. Do not await confidence. Do not await the perfect plan. Grant yourself 20 hours. You will be astonished by the power your brain unleashes once you actively engage it. Step 7. Research deeply on each subtask. You have defined your goal, dissected the skill, and commenced practice, observing and doing. Now, a crucial question most people neglect: how much do I truly understand about this specific subtask I am currently working on? Most only research the overarching topic, not its individual constituents. They search how to be a better photographer, an endeavor too vast, akin to attempting to consume an entire elephant in one bite. Suppose you wish to bake a perfect chocolate cake. The typical approach involves watching one video, obtaining a recipe, trying it once, failing, and feeling disheartened. A discerning, deep learner, however, dissects the process. What are the distinct subtasks here? Mixing the batter. How do varying speeds alter texture? Choosing flour. What distinguishes cake flour from all-purpose? Utilizing cocoa. Which type yields the richest flavor? What is the impact of 170 degrees C versus 180 degrees C? Frosting techniques. How do professionals achieve that smooth, glossy finish? Each of these represents a miniature universe of knowledge with its own experts, methods, and common errors. Attempting the cake without researching these elements is akin to entering battle unarmed. But if you dedicate 15 minutes per skill to deep research, reading articles, comparing videos, analyzing failures and successes, your brain constructs a vast library of patterns. Once these patterns emerge, you cease guessing and begin knowing. Consider learning video editing. Most beginners open software and immediately attempt to edit a vlog. Deep learners, however, research each subtask: cutting. What rhythm best serves emotional storytelling? Transitions. What differentiates cinematic cuts from basic slides? Color grading. What hues evoke warmth, intensity, or nostalgia? Sound design. How does background music influence audience emotion? Text animation. What fonts foster trust? What animations appear most contemporary? They do not merely edit. They scrutinize the science and psychology of each component. They observe master editors deconstructing projects. They pause videos and query, why did they cut here? Why this particular shot? What emotion does this create? This is not passive viewing, it is active dissection. Deep subtask research enables you to circumvent novice errors, identify professional shortcuts, build muscle memory more rapidly, and avoid repeatedly fixing the same mistakes. You glean 10 times more from every hour of practice. View it this way: learning without subtask research is like constructing a house blindfolded. You might hammer nails, but you will never confirm the walls are plumb. By studying the individual parts, you forge an unshakable foundation. Every great learner is also a great researcher, not just of what to do, but of why it works, how it is constructed, and what causes its failure. Before your next task, ask, what single aspect of this step have I yet to research? What do top practitioners understand about this that I do not? What hidden detail do most people overlook here? This is how you transition from superficiality to surgical precision. This is how you render your learning process impregnable. Step 8. Practice in public, not in private. Most people retreat into secrecy when learning something new. They declare, I will reveal my work when I am ready. I will speak when I am perfect. I will launch it only after it is flawless. I will post it when it is better. This sounds prudent, but it is a snare. Because by waiting for perfection, you never feel ready, you never complete, you never truly learn. Imagine learning sketching or digital art. You have practiced in solitude for months, but no one has ever witnessed your creations. You conceal your drawings. You compare yourself to Instagram artists. You perpetually think, I will post when I am good enough. But here is the truth. You do not achieve good enough in private. You achieve it by releasing your work into the world, unfinished, imperfect, and authentic. When you practice in public, 3 transformative things occur. First, you experience pressure, and pressure sculpts skill. When an audience is present, your brain sharpens. You articulate more clearly. You perform with greater care. You exert more effort. Second, you receive feedback, not fantasy. People will inform you what resonates, what confuses, what moves them. You gain real-world reactions, not mere assumptions. Third, you develop immunity to fear. Each act of sharing something imperfect diminishes your fear, thickens your resolve, and amplifies your courage. Consider aspiring to be a YouTuber. Most individuals spend 6 months watching tutorials, practicing filming alone, deleting countless drafts, and awaiting the perfect camera, voice, and concept. The astute learner, however, declares, I will upload my first 30-second video today. No edits, no filters, just my genuine message. Then they post another tomorrow and another the next day. Suddenly, in 3 days of public action, they have learned more than they would have in 3 months of private practice. Other avenues for public practice: upload daily progress on Instagram. Share your sketches even if incomplete. Publish your learning notes on a blog. Host a free online class after just 10 days of study. Join a community and participate in live challenges. Ask friends for honest critique. Build in public. Speak in public. Fail in public. Because the fastest learners are not the most inherently talented. They are the most exposed. They do not hide. They are visible, vulnerable, and brave. Do not conceal your learning. Showcase your journey. Speak before you are fluent. Create before you are ready. Teach before you are perfect. Every skill you are currently acquiring will multiply 3 times faster the moment you step out of the shadows and into the light of public practice. Step 9. Learn by teaching. Let me pose a question. When you explain a concept to another, do you not suddenly recognize the gaps in your own understanding? This is not a weakness. It is the latent power of teaching. Teaching is not exclusive to experts. It is a profound learning accelerator. When you teach, your brain systematically organizes knowledge, identifies deficiencies, clarifies concepts, fortifies memory, and bolsters confidence. It is as if the brain declares, "All right, we must explain this. Let us first tidy up the internal landscape." One of history's most brilliant minds, Nobel-winning physicist Richard Feynman, employed a simple technique to master any subject with unparalleled speed. He called it, "Explain it to a child." The process learned the topic conventionally. Then imagine you are teaching it to a 12-year-old. Write your explanation using simple language. If you encounter difficulty, return and restudy that specific section. Repeat until you can articulate the entire subject with complete simplicity. This is now known as the Feynman technique, and it has empowered millions globally to master everything from physics to finance. Why its efficacy? Complex terminology often masks confusion, whereas simple explanations unveil true understanding. If you cannot teach it simply, you have not genuinely learned it. When you attempt to teach, your brain shifts from a passive consumer mode to an active creator mode. It is compelled to synthesize all disparate pieces, to verify logic, flow, and clarity, and to retrieve information from memory rather than merely recognizing it. This is the genesis of authentic learning. Most people merely recognize knowledge, but teaching demands reproduction from within your own cognitive framework, and that is when neural pathways evolve into superhighways, not dirt roads. Consider learning personal finance, budgeting, saving, investing. After consuming a video or book, try this. Take a blank page. Pretend your younger sibling asks, "How do I save money every month?" Explain what budgeting entails, why overspending is common, what apps or methods assist, and why saving before spending is more effective. Use plain language, devoid of jargon. If you falter, return, relearn, rewrite. Implement this weekly with everything you acquire. Your learning speed, retention, and clarity will multiply tenfold. You will transform into someone who can teach, not just talk. Learning for oneself is level 1. Teaching it to another is level 10. You do not need to be ready. You merely need to be honest, curious, and willing to share, because the brain that teaches becomes the brain that masters. Step 10. Never multitask while learning. Your brain possesses immense power, but only when it is singularly focused. We inhabit the most distracted era in human history. Notifications, open tabs, group chats, endless scrolling, flitting between videos, texts, applications, and thoughts. Then we lament our inability to retain information. Let me deliver a stark truth. Multitasking is not a superpower. It is a cognitive assassin. Consider Kobe Bryant, an unparalleled basketball legend renowned for his unwavering focus. He trained before dawn, repeated the same movements hundreds of times. During training, no phone, no conversations, no music, only practice. When asked why he did not vary his drills, he responded, "Why would I mix it up before I master the basics?" This is the essence of monotasking laser locked learning. Science consistently validates this. Your brain cannot execute two complex tasks simultaneously. It can only rapidly switch between them. And each switch incurs a cost, a loss of speed, accuracy, and memory strength. This is termed cognitive switching cost. Every time you transition from learning to phone and back, your brain slows, your focus dilutes, your memory weakens, and skill acquisition prolongs. It is akin to attempting to boil water, but repeatedly extinguishing the flame every 10 seconds. The water never reaches boiling point. Imagine learning a new programming language. The common approach: watch a tutorial with 20 tabs open, respond to messages intermittently, succumb to YouTube recommendations, and attempt to absorb everything while half listening. This is not learning, it is cognitive chaos. The focused learner, however, closes all tabs, places their phone in another room, opens only one screen code alongside the lesson, sets a 40-minute timer, engages solely in coding, testing, failing, and fixing, then takes a genuine break and returns. This methodology is known as deep work, and it enables individuals to grasp in hours what others take weeks to comprehend. Annually, Bill Gates disappears for an entire week. No meetings, no emails, no internet, just books, notebooks, contemplation, and planning. He terms it Think Week, asserting it is the most productive learning period of his life due to zero distractions. He reads, reflects, writes, and creates all in silence. That silence is not emptiness, it is power. You do not require a week. You merely need 1 hour a day. Why? Because without noise, without switching, without chaos, that is when true learning commences. Your brain is a laser, but only if you cease treating it like a disco ball. Do not attempt to learn while texting. Do not study while watching television. Do not build your aspirations while chasing notifications. Grant your brain the profound gift of full presence, and it will reward you with speed, clarity, and retention beyond your wildest imagination. Step 11: Identity, not willpower. Become the learner. How often have you declared, "I want to learn this. I just need to be consistent. I will be disciplined this time. I will force myself," only to falter after 2 days, become preoccupied, forget, feel guilty, and then conclude, "I lack sufficient willpower." Let me share a truth: rarely spoken willpower is not the issue. Your identity is. Consider James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, and his powerful anecdote. He describes two individuals attempting to quit smoking. Offered a cigarette, the first says, "No thanks, I am trying to quit." The second says, "No thanks, I do not smoke." Which person is more likely to succeed? The second. The first still identifies as a smoker who is making an effort. The second has already embraced the identity of a non-smoker. This is the profound influence of identity. If you state, "I am trying to learn coding," or "I am forcing myself to learn guitar," or "I need to push myself to read," you remain an outsider to the learning identity. But if you shift to, "I am a builder, I create with code," "I am a musician, I just have not performed yet," "I am a reader, I learn something new every day," now your brain does not question, Should I do this today? It affirms, this is who I am. When identity aligns, action becomes automatic. Imagine learning design. Instead of I am learning design, say, I am a designer. I show up daily to refine my craft. Then alter your phone wallpaper to a favorite designer quote. Include designer in your social media bio. Join a community of fellow designers. Create a folder titled My Work, Not Practice Stuff. Share your creative process like an artist, not a student. Your identity transforms into your driving force. No more cajoling yourself to work. No more guilt. Just natural alignment. Discipline wanes. Identity endures. Cease pursuing motivation. Begin sculpting identity. Because once you become the learner, learning evolves into your lifestyle, not merely another item on your to-do list. Step 12. Fall in love with boring repetition. Let us confront an uncomfortable truth. Every skill you admire, every genius you revere, every talent you covet was forged through countless instances of mundane repetition. The aspect that lacks excitement, that feels sluggish, where nothing thrilling transpires. The part most people bypass. Yet, this is the profound secret. The most accomplished learners do not recoil from boredom, they embrace it. Bruce Lee, the legendary martial artist, famously stated, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. People mistakenly attribute his legend to variety. No, he achieved legend through obsession. The same punch again. The same kick again. The same movement again. Day after day, monotonous, repetitive, and focused until it became ingrained muscle memory. Until it became instinct. Until his body and mind fused. That is when genius manifests. Each time you repeat a task, your brain fortifies a neural pathway. The task becomes more accessible. You expend less energy to execute it. It eventually becomes automatic. This process is called myelination. Your brain literally encases neurons in a protective sheath with repeated task execution. More repetition equates to faster, cleaner neural signals. This is precisely why elite learners do not chase novelty. They pursue flawless execution of the familiar. Consider learning to play the violin. Initially, mastering a single scale is exhilarating, but after 3 days, your brain declares, this is tedious. And at this juncture, 99% of people quit. But the 1%, they smile. They say, now the real work begins. So, you play the same scale again. You play it 20 times, then 50, then 100. Each time, you subtly adjust your hand position, meticulously listen to your tone, more delicately control your bow. You discern details others ignore. By the 100th repetition, you are not merely producing notes, you are cultivating mastery. Track progress, even in minute increments. Today, I played this scale 30 times. Tomorrow, 31. Celebrate infinitesimal victories, even if unseen by others. Gamify repetition, incorporate timers, challenges, or streaks. Visualize your evolving self during these repetitions. Train your mind to affirm. This is the moment everyone else surrenders, and I will not. The trajectory to mastery is paved with boredom, and those who embrace it ascend. While the world pursues novelty, you construct greatness through patience. Embrace repetition. For every world, class achievement is concealed within that moment when you feel the urge to cease. Step 13. Utilize brain anchors. Connect new information with existing knowledge. Here is a subtle truth about the brain that often goes unsaid. Your brain does not store information in isolation. It stores connections. It is not a hard drive. It is an intricate spider web. Every novel idea requires an attachment to something already known, or it will inevitably dissipate. This is why pure memorization often fails to create lasting knowledge. Learners attempt to force information in, but the brain inherently asks, where does this fit within my existing framework? If you can provide that answer, learning accelerates fivefold. If not, it becomes tenfold more challenging. Envision your brain as an immense library. Now, imagine acquiring a brand new book, but neglecting to label, categorize, or place it anywhere specific. You simply toss it into a random room. A week later, you wish to reread it. Where is it? Lost. This is precisely what transpires when you learn something new without anchoring it to existing knowledge. Now, imagine you diligently record the book's title, assign it to a specific section, alphabetize it, and cross-reference it with other relevant texts. Locating that book becomes instantaneous. This illustrates your brain's operation. Learning is not merely storage, it is organization. And organization necessitates anchoring the new to the old. Suppose you are learning the fundamentals of investing and encounter the term compound interest. If you solely attempt to memorize the formula A, PC1 tar NCNT, you will likely forget it within 3 days. However, if you anchor it to something familiar, such as compound interest is like planting a tree. Initially, it grows slowly, but with each passing year, its growth accelerates exponentially as its leaves and branches also begin to sprout new leaves and branches. It is nature's financial accelerator. Now, your brain possesses a visual anchor tree equals compound interest. It is linked to your existing understanding of natural growth. It makes intuitive sense. You will never forget it. Various types of brain anchors. You can employ visual anchors. Link the concept to a shape, color, movement, or pattern. Example, the CPU is the brain of a computer, a visual metaphor. Story anchors transform it into a mini story analogy or scene. Example, saving money is like constructing a dam before the flood. Emotion anchors connect it to something that evoked laughter, tears, or a strong reaction. Example, remembering a quote because it resonated deeply. Location anchors associate it with the physical place where you studied it. Example, I read this on the balcony at sunset. I still recall the page. Sequence anchors link new concepts to preceding steps in a routine. Example, I always review new vocabulary after lunch while walking. My brain anticipates it. Unanswered knowledge vanishes, but anchored knowledge persists, expands, and multiplies. Each time you learn something, ask, what does this remind me of? Where have I encountered this pattern before? Can I transform this into an image, a narrative, or a comparison? This is how you transcend rote memorization and truly remember. This is how you build a brain that retains what it learns. Step 14, track progress like a scientist. Most learners neglect tracking any aspect of their progress. They merely hope for improvement. They practice daily but forget their activities. They read articles, but do not review. They watch tutorials, but do not quantify advancement. They learn, but never assess their journey. Consequently, they lament, "I do not think I am getting better." This is not failure. It is a deficit of data. Here is the truth: the brain often overlooks incremental improvement, but numbers never lie. To grow rapidly, consistently, and with sustained motivation, you must track your progress with scientific rigor. Imagine a room that is too cold. You desire warmth, so you ignite a small fire. Now, imagine you possess no thermometer, no means to measure temperature. You simply guess whether it is improving. Every 10 minutes, you feel the air. Sometimes it seems warmer, sometimes not. You become frustrated, declaring, "This is ineffective." Yet, perhaps the room is warming, albeit slowly, imperceptibly. Now, imagine placing a thermometer on the wall. Every 10 minutes, you record the reading 16 C, 16 9 C, 17 4 C, 18 C. Even if you do not feel the difference, you can clearly observe the improvement. This is the transformative power of progress tracking. Suppose you are learning digital art. Implement a simple system. Create a progress folder. Weekly, save one drawing. Label it with the date and your mood. Week 3D portrait practice. Frustrated, but attempting shading. Write weekly reflections. What did you learn? What confused you? What improved? Establish measurable micro goals. This week, master eye sketching. Next week, practice light source shading for 3 days. Dedicate monthly review days. Compare this month's work to last month's. Identify recurring patterns. I consistently struggle with proportions. I will address that next month. Now, your learning transforms into a living experiment, not a haphazard effort. It cultivates motivation. Witnessing even a 1% improvement releases dopamine in your brain, signaling, "This is working. Let us continue." It expedites error correction. Tracking reveals repetitive mistakes, allowing you to stop guessing and start adjusting. It provides a narrative. You no longer say, "I am trying to learn." You say, I have progressed from this to this to this." And that narrative builds unwavering belief. Progress is not a sensation. It is a verifiable record. Track your actions, track your learnings, track what succeeded and what failed. Your brain might forget last Tuesday's endeavors, but your progress journal will not. Again, when you witness your own journey chronicled before you, you will never again doubt your innate capacity to learn. Let me conclude with this profound realization. You were never deficient in learning. You were never sluggish. You were never behind. You were simply never equipped with the proper methodology. But now, you possess the truth. You hold the map. You command the tools. You discern the path. So, no more hesitation, no more fear, no more, "I am not ready." Because from this precise moment forward, you are the learner. You are the creator. You are the individual who transmutes knowledge into tangible power. And if you integrate even a fraction of these principles, your future self will reflect and declare, "That was the day everything irrevocably shifted." Now, go forth and learn anything and never cease your boundless growth.